In this episode, we're going to talk about some of the moves that have already transpired in the NFL offseason, plus Dallas Mavericks Kyrie Irving out for the remainder of the season. What does that mean for their future? All this and more on episode 61 of N1 from the End Zone, starting now. You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to N1 from the End Zone with your host, King NPV. Now, before we get into it, ladies and gentlemen, let me take a second to thank all of you guys, my subscribers. We're at 10,300 subs, and we are continuing to grow. I'm starting to do a little bit more live streams, so maybe you catch one of my live streams here and there. We do wrestling content on that. I'm also going to be playing some whiteout gameplay. Whiteout Survival. You've probably seen the ads. The game is nothing like the ads, just letting you guys know that. But yeah, guys, I appreciate all the love, all the support. Please hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying this content. I would love for you guys to be a part of my community. Check out the link for my Discord server and check out my link for Shady Mob Productions. Without further ado now, let's get into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first topic we are discussing today is the recent release of Joey Bosa by the Los Angeles Chargers. Big move by the Chargers. They were essentially predicted to make this move last year, gave him a shot with Jim Harbaugh, and now they need to do some cleaning up, get Justin Herbert some real talent to surround him with, and essentially just build that roster back up with in the way that Jim Harbaugh wants it to be built. Now, Joey Bosa fit that culture tremendously. I think he would have been a perfect long-term fit for them. However, he wants to compete for a title. It feels like the Los Angeles Chargers are in a bit of a rebuild, especially with talent trying to bring in the new guard in. So Joey's a commodity. Joey is a commodity that they have to cut. And where would he fit in? Well, a place that I think he would fit in perfectly would be with his brother on my beloved San Francisco 49ers. It's been rumored for a while that he might end up there. If John Lynch can somehow miraculously find a way to pay Brock and also manage to bring in Joey and pair him up on the defensive side of the ball with Robert Saleh calling the defensive plays, and Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. I think they're trying to find a solution for Dre Greenlaw as well. I'd be excited. I'd be fucking ecstatic about it. But another option realistically for Joey, and I don't know if it would be a real possibility, but Howie Roseman always finds a way to make one of these fucking trades happen. He just finds the money somewhere. I don't know how he does it, but he finds the money. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles revamp and go all in again this upcoming season and go after Joey or go after a Myles Garrett, because a player of that caliber can change the face of your defense tremendously. Another team that I think should pursue Joey Bosa, in all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. We know Mike Tomlin loves the defense, loves having great defensive talent. He spends all of his money on the defense, and then he'll draft offensive players. Najee Harris draft pick, George Pickens draft pick, Freiermuth draft pick. The only player that they tried to go for Kenny Pickett, a quarterback, but that didn't work out. And then they got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, but they got them both on the cheap. They spend on their defense, and spending on Joey Bosa is something that I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers actually go out and do. The Bengals desperately need him. In my personal opinion, the Bengals should really consider him, because last year that defense was atrocious under Lou Anarumo, and they've let too much defensive talent go out the door. I know that ownership doesn't like to spend money, but a player like Joey Bosa would help turn around that defense and solidify the confidence in your star quarterback moving forward, that you're actually committed to winning in the long term. I think that's 4 teams. My Niners, Well, the Eagles, the Bengals. I feel like I said one other team in there. Oh, Commanders too. Commanders, Dan Quinn, perfect fit right there. Realistically, perfect fit right there. You put in a Joey Bosa linebacker position. I think he plays edge. I think he plays outside linebacker. Bro, in that Dan Quinn defense, with the addition of Deebo on the offense, ooh, I like what the Commanders are doing over there, to be completely honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. And with that actually being said, let me transition to the move that the Commanders made for Deebo Samuel. All right. So my San Francisco 49ers traded away star wide receiver, 49er great in my personal opinion, Deebo Samuel, to the Washington Commanders for a 5th round pick. This was a great move by the Washington Commanders, acquiring another offensive weapon for Jaden Daniels to be able to rely on that actually fits what they're probably going to be trying to do with the offense moving forward. It is very clear that is a run-centric offense, especially with the mobility that Jaden Daniels has and the fact that he actually has a rocket of an arm. I love Jaden Daniels as quarterback, and that was a phenomenal pick by the Washington Commanders. Realistically, I think next year there is going to be a bit of a sophomore slump where we see him get pulled back a little bit, like what happened with CJ Stroud. But I could also see it being a year where it's like Lamar Jackson had his second year and he's propelled into the MVP conversation because he might be that caliber of player. He might be just that special, ladies and gentlemen, in my personal opinion. And a player like Deebo Samuel, having a weapon like Deebo, I know the last couple of years he hasn't been the Deebo that was like first things first hosts Nick Wright and Chris Broussard say. He hasn't been an Avenger, he hasn't been an All-Pro, but you had to take into account last year we didn't have Brandon Ayuk. We had a couple of rookie receivers. We had Jawan Jennings, who was emerging here and there. He had his spots. Deebo, with the talent that they have in Washington, the running backs that they have in Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, who are actual running backs that can carry the ball. You put Deebo into that mix. I don't know if Austin's still going to be there next year, but I think Brian Robinson is going to still be there. So you put Brian Robinson, you got Jaden Daniels, you got Deebo, all 3 players that can handle the ball in the backfield. You fucking pair him up next to Terry McLaurin, who's a fucking stud at the wide receiver position. Basically, Deebo now becomes the second wide receiver or the slot receiver. It's going to be beautiful what the Washington Commanders are going to do, and they might even actually challenge the Philadelphia Eagles. One thing's for sure, I think the Eagles, I think the NFC East, they haven't had a repeat champion in about 20 to 25 years, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that trend might actually continue. And I think the Commanders might actually win that division. I think the Eagles will definitely still make the playoffs and even make a run. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders actually make a viable run for that division title this upcoming season because of the way that they're building their team this year. It's incredible. I'm excited to see what they do. Good on the Commanders. I also think my Niners won in draft compensation. A 5th round pick for a player like Deebo, who has an injury history, who hasn't put up the same amount of productivity over the last couple of seasons. Getting a 5th round pick, we find gems all the time. We found George Kittle in the 5th round. I think we found Fred in like the 7th round. Renardo Green, I think we found in the 4th or 5th round. I think actually no, he might have been a 3rd round pick. I might be exaggerating, but I also think Jacob Cowing, the wide receiver that we drafted last year, he was a late round pick or a 4th round pick, I think. He's going to develop. We got Sticky Ricky Pearsall. He's going to develop. I knew as soon as we signed Brandon Ayuk last year that Deebo was probably going to be on his way out. And we still got Juwan Jennings under contract this year. If he has another tremendous, stupendous year, he might get a long-term deal, or we might actually end up moving him for another draft pick, franchise tagging him, and seeing how we move forward from there. So I think it's a win-win for both scenarios. We're not sending him to a division rival. We're sending him. Yes, it's still in the NFC, but it's in the East Coast where he might be able to do damage to the reigning Super Bowl champions, and just maybe chink that armor a little bit. So good for Deebo. Thank you, Deebo, for everything you did for my Niners. The vibe, I know it might not be there anymore with you being gone, but hey, my love for you, man. I appreciate it. I'm sorry we couldn't win you a ring, brother. Those tears, man. I feel you. I feel you, and I'm very sorry it didn't happen with us, man. I hope you win one eventually in the future. You deserve it. You gave us your all, and thank you, Deebo. Thank you for everything, brother. Thank you. Now we'll be right back after this commercial break. So let me tear up. Let me dry these tears. Let me try these tears a little bit. Got a little bit emotional because Deebo is that guy. I appreciated it. But yeah, we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, have you heard? Nelson, tell the people.
Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons.
Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspins Barbershop located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone.
Are you protected? With living benefits, life insurance isn't just for the unexpected. It's for the here and now. Protect your family, protect your future. Contact me for a free quote and more information.
Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
All right, guys, let's transition into the NBA. The topic we're actually going to be covering in this conversation is the injury to Kyrie Irving on the Dallas Mavericks. We know that the trade of the year, the trade of maybe the decade, was Luka Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis and Max Christie and a bunch of other stuff. Not a bunch of other stuff. I think it was only Max Christie and like another pick, and Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic. Literally, they got chump change. They got robbed in that trade. And in my personal opinion, I hate to say it because I don't know who Nico Harrison is, but he deserves to be fired after this season. You traded away your franchise player, the player that was going to carry your franchise for the next 15 years for an injury-prone star that in his first game with you got hurt and probably is at the later stage of his career, who most likely, if this wasn't his last year in his prime, has about 2, maybe 3 years at best left in the tank of being not even a top 10 player in the league, but a high enough caliber player to where he can impact the game. Maybe like a top 15 player, because I never thought Anthony Davis was a top 10 player in the league or a top 5 player in the league. My top 5 has always consisted of, and not in any particular order, LeBron, Steph, Luka, Giannis, Jokic, who else? That's my top 5. And I even feel like I'm missing a couple of star players that deserve to be in that conversation. Anthony Davis, in my personal opinion, has never been a top 5 player in the league. And even when he was with LeBron James, that didn't elevate him to a top 5 player in the league. At best, maybe he was a top 10, because top 10, you got to be deep. There's, I think, 30 teams in the NBA. Maybe he was a top 10 player at some point. But in my personal opinion, you traded away like the closer to the 15th best NBA player for Luka Doncic, who was a player that could carry, who just got you to the finals and was going to be your franchise player for the next 15 fucking years. Nico Harrison. And then what ends up happening? You go for an age veteran in Anthony Davis, and you were going to give a max extension to Kyrie Irving, who in the past has a checkered past nonetheless, and that has nothing to do with his contract, but he was on his best behavior with the Mavericks just so he could get that max deal, and then he gets hurt. He's an aging superstar, or he's an aging star. I don't know if you can call him a superstar because he has never carried a team into the playoffs in a deep run, unless he was with LeBron. Even when he had KD right by his side, he did not lead them to where he was supposed to lead them. And that's even like an Eastern Conference final, because I don't think they made it past the first round, to be completely honest with you. So Nico Harrison, with all due respect, should not retain his role after this season with the Dallas Mavericks. Made a trade for a star who only has about 2 or 3 years at the most left in the tank, due to the injury history, due to his age. There's a lot of factors there. Kyrie Irving, another one. Aging star, checkered past. I know he's been great in Dallas, but now he's injured, and basically the season's over after being in the finals last year. I don't know, man. Questions, and I feel bad for Jason Kidd, because they're going to blame the coach, and Jason Kidd literally got sabotaged. He's going to lose his job in Dallas because of this entire scenario. And I hope either Nico Harrison leaves at the end of the season, or Jason Kidd leaves at the end of the season, because Jason Kidd deserves better than what they've done to him in Dallas. Those are my pure and honest thoughts. Now, guys, with that hot, fiery take, that concludes this episode of N1 from the End Zone with your host, King NPV. Now, please subscribe, like, comment on the video, share this with your friends, families, and partners. Listen for my sports takes, or watch for some positivity. Always remember, desire is power. If you desire to be great, you have the power to be great. Thank you all for watching this episode. I appreciate you all. Stay tuned for more.
Guys, have you heard? Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast, where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops.